Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It's your boy Chris. It's your boy Chris. It's another amazing episode of Financipation. This channel is all about making money, saving money, building generational wealth, and financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. On this channel, everybody, I give you a six-figure MBA level worth of investing in financial knowledge for free here on YouTube. And the things that people typically spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn in grad school, I give it to you for free here on Financipation. Before I go any further, I also want to give a shout out to one of my sponsors, Kilico Solutions. They're the ones who do all these dope digital marketing and graphics that you see on my podcast. So thank you, Kilico Solutions, because your work is fire. Okay. Also, before I go any further, please hit the notification bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. Guys, I normally don't really touch much on popular culture or TikTok or things like that because to me, in general, I find that social media in general is kind of a cesspool in regards to low value individuals, particularly, unfortunately, for the community that looks like me. In a lot of ways, I think it kind of brings down our community. Having said that, I do want to talk about this Katt Williams, Shannon Sharpe podcast, just because in general, I find that while I have ultimate respect for Shannon Sharpe and Katt Williams as a hilarious comedian, there's a lot of things about that interview that, in my opinion, kind of sum up a lot of the issues that are actually wrong with the Black community in regards to us being consumers and not investors, and us liking being entertainers instead of being producers. And because this is a financial channel, I want to give a shout out first and foremost to Shannon Sharpe, because he literally, everybody, cemented his generational wealth and his grandchildren's generational wealth, and he secured the bag by that one podcast. Okay, so that, everybody, let's get started. This is my thoughts pretty much on the Shannon Sharpe Katt Williams interview. First things first, everybody, I'm gonna cut right to the chase. Katt Williams is a phenomenal comedian, and he is flat out hilarious, period. I studied engineering, everybody, at North Carolina A&T State University. Can I get an Aggie pride? And during one of our homecomings, Katt Williams was a featured comedian. He basically was the main event. And in this particular comedic tour and everything, Deborah Terry, Earthquake, some local comedians, and Katt Williams pretty much were the comedians that we all went to and listened to that night. Deborah Terry got booed off the stage, and so did some of the local acts. And as a result, Katt Williams, essentially, instead of having 1 hour to do his thing, he had 2 hours to go because Deborah Terry and the other comedians got booed. And I'm gonna be honest with you, everybody, that till this day is still the best live comedic show I have ever seen in my life. Katt Williams, I'm gonna give him the brother his props, is flat out hilarious, period. I'm also gonna say this: Katt Williams is also hilarious in Money Mike, and Ice Cube put him in his Friday After Next movie. So I personally have always found Katt Williams to be funnier, just in my personal opinion, than the Kevin Harts, than the Tiffany Haddishes of the world, and a lot of other comedians that are out here. But what's interesting, I find though, is that even back then, when I was a freshman in college back in the 2000s, Katt Williams was basically getting attacked and getting death threats from other Black comedians because Katt Williams was essentially beefing with the Faison Loves of the world and with Steve Harvey and people like that way back in the 2000s. So it did not surprise me at all that Katt Williams was basically still beefing with these brothers 20 years later when he did that Shannon Sharpe interview. Literally, people, he's been doing the exact same thing for 20 years, and we all ate it up. The next thing I want to talk about is the Shannon Sharpe interview itself with Katt Williams, because it's interesting, once again, that 19 years later, people are surprised about all the stuff that Katt Williams has been saying about Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley, and all these guys. And he's been saying the same thing, everybody, for 20 years, literally for 2 decades. History repeats itself. But back then, I think when Katt Williams was saying this kind of stuff, we didn't have YouTube or social media, so people weren't talking about it like they are today. And to keep it a buck, everyone, as an athlete and as a fighter and as an engineer, I've literally never, ever vibed with people who have to talk crap and tear down other people in order to build themselves up. Like, I really don't understand why Katt Williams is talking crap about Ice Cube when Cube literally gave him a job and paid him very well when he basically cast him as Money Mike in the movie Next Friday. Nor do I understand why Katt Williams went out of his way to pretty much call Ludacris's wife ugly, who's also not ugly, by the way, and why he wanted to talk bad about Luda. What man talks bad about another man's wife or whatever? To be honest with you, that's how dudes get dealt with. So in general, any person to me that has to dampen the light of someone else in order to be relevant or to brighten their own light, to me, everybody, I don't care whether you're in an office setting, whether you're basically in a professional career or you're a comedian or whatever, if you got to dampen the light of other people, you're not an asset to that culture. You are a cancer, period. And I'm not really going to get into the back and forth between what Ricky Smiley said, what Kevin Hart has said, how he's responded. This isn't that podcast. Once again, this is a financial channel. But I am flat out amazed and actually disgusted about how much attention my folks, we as Black people, have given this podcast, because it literally, people, is not putting any money into your wallet or to your family's wallet at all. Black folks, I'm gonna cut right to the chase, okay? Obviously, I'm a brother, so I'm gonna cut right to the chase. At the time of this recording, Shannon Sharpe has reached nearly 50 million views from the Katt Williams podcast. And given the fact that it's controversial and as my folks, I am fairly certain that the vast majority of these 50 million views have come from people who look like me. It's very interesting, people, that we would literally sit down for 3 hours and watch a podcast that literally teaches us nothing about financial literacy or how to build generational wealth. And then we will go online and argue for another 3.5 to 4 hours or whatever about defending Katt Williams or defending our favorite comedian. So people, I've seen keyboard warrior types and these tough Facebook warrior dudes literally waste 7 hours of their lives basically defending something that's not putting a single penny into their pocket. People, instead of spending 7 hours on something that literally does not put any money into your pocket, it's a much better investment for you to understand how the stock market works, how to invest in the ETFs and index funds, or how to max out your Roth IRAs and your retirement accounts. People, especially Black people, wake up. We as Black Americans have an annual spending power of 1.7 trillion with a T dollars. Yet we as Black Americans rank dead last when it comes to investing our money into assets like property, land, and real estate. Yeah, I understand there is a history of slavery in this country. I get it about Jim Crow. I get it about mass incarceration. I get it about the war on drugs. I get it about the redlining district that basically made it legal to not rent property to Black folks. I get all that. People, I get all that. I'm talking about in 2024. Today, we have a spending power of $1.7 trillion, but we rank last when it comes to our 401k investments, our Roth IRA investments, and when it comes to home ownership. So instead of wasting 6 hours talking about the Shannon Sharpe Katt Williams interview, we instead need to be spending 6 hours improving our financial literacy. Imagine, everybody, how different our communities would look if we spent 6 hours watching Financipation videos and you learned how the Rockefeller Trust works, or why you need a will, or why passively managed index funds are king and are possibly the best investments you can make in the year 2024. People, entertainment has its place. Heck, I played sports in my entire life, and I played in basketball games in front of thousands of people, and I've also fought in sanctioned fights in front of thousands of people in hotels and ballrooms all across America. But I'm going to be real with you, everybody. I really wish that we as a group of people would stop obsessing over what a lot of these dumb and broke rappers and celebrities say and do with their lives. Because imagine if we spent that same amount of time figuring out how to start businesses, how to improve our financial literacy, and how to build our own generational wealth. Half of these entertainers, everybody, and I've lived in LA and I've lived in Miami, half of these entertainers that we give all of our time and our attention to literally would not say one word to you if they walked by you and you said hey to them on the street. Yet how many of us wasted 3 hours of our lives and even more time arguing people back and forth on social media defending whether Katt Williams was right or whether Kevin Hart was right? People, wake up, especially Black America. Before I go any further, please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop new content. Please hit that like button. Please share the video. Please comment. Please like and subscribe. I'm giving you an MBA level of investing and financial knowledge for free here on YouTube, okay? So subscribe to the channel. The next thing I want to talk about is there's literally no hate coming from me when it comes to Shannon Sharpe or Katt Williams, because I'm going to keep it real with you. This is a financial channel, and Katt Williams and Shannon Sharpe literally secured the generational bag off of that one podcast. And I'm honestly proud of Shannon Sharpe, because at the end of the day, the brother is doing what I say you should do. He figured out a way to build generational wealth. Shannon Sharpe right now, everybody, is unquestionably the #1 podcaster in the world. And kudos to him as he successfully transitioned from being an NFL Hall of Fame tight end to a sportscaster and now to a podcaster and a YouTuber. And it's actually kind of dope when you think about it. And as Spotify, everybody, offered Joe Rogan $200 million with an M to host his podcast in 2020. What do you think Shannon Sharpe is going to make today by hosting a podcast when he just got 50 million views from that one interview with Katt Williams? Think about it like this, everybody. If Joe Rogan got $200 million in 2020, if you factor in interest and inflation, Shannon Sharpe is probably going to get something in the realm of $210 to $250 million from Spotify. $250,000 because people like you spent 3 hours of your life watching his podcast, and it is genius. The man has secured the bag. I also got to give props to Katt Williams, because think of it like this. Netflix paid Dave Chappelle around $82 million in 2018 to host 3 Netflix specials. With the numbers that Katt Williams did with that plus Shannon Sharpe interview, he is unquestionably the #1 comedian right now in the world. And as a result, if Dave Chappelle got $82 million in 2018, we factor in inflation and we factor in interest, Katt Williams is probably going to get somewhere around $100 million with an M to do 5 or 6 Netflix specials. And this does not include the money he's going to get from touring. So I got to give Katt Williams and Shannon Sharpe their props, because at the end of the day, they literally just secured the generational bag, and they should be thanking all of you guys who basically spent 3 hours of your lives watching their podcast and the 50 million views that they both got from watching that. So Shannon Sharpe and Katt Williams have secured the generational wealth. Have you? The next point I want to talk about is that history repeats itself. In ancient Rome, they entertained the Roman citizens by killing people in the Colosseum while they simultaneously took away their rights as citizens. So Black folks, over the last 2 weeks, we've been going back and forth about this whole Katt Williams, Shannon Sharpe, Katt Williams versus Kevin Hart kind of thing. And this is what's been happening in art that directly affects our community over the last 2 years. An 8th Circuit federal judge that was appointed by Donald Trump named David Strauss recently brought a lawsuit that will go to the Supreme Court called Arkansas State Conference versus the NAACP Board of Appointment. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act prohibits voting laws that have the effect of discriminating on the basis of race. And according to legal authorities, it's one of the most important civil rights laws in U.S. history. For over 50 years, when states have tried to pass laws that make it harder for Black and brown minorities to vote, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act stood in the way and challenged illegal barriers to vote, such as poll taxes and literacy tests. Well, in the 8th Circuit case that was brought on by a federal Trump-appointed judge, the federal judge that was appointed by Trump ruled that private parties like the NAACP or local authorities can't use Section 2 to enforce voting rights. And that Voting Rights Act can only be enforced by the federal government. This case, everybody, is now headed to the Supreme Court. And if the 6-3 Republican-led Supreme Court rules favorably, they could literally pass a law that allows states like Arkansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, North and South Dakota to literally disenfranchise millions of mostly Black people and brown people from voting. So while you're sitting around arguing whether Katt Williams is funnier than Kevin Hart, these are the kind of things that have been going on in our communities over the last 8 to 12 weeks. So once again, everybody, wake up. Secondly, while you were sitting here arguing whether Katt Williams was right about Steve Harvey, the state of Florida has recently implemented a curriculum teaching that Black people benefited from slavery because we learned valuable friggin' lessons and skills. The #2 Republican in the country, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who is currently running for president of the United States, wants to make this pro-slavery Florida curriculum a national educational standard. And Ron DeSantis has repeatedly doubled down on the disgusting claim that Black people benefited from slavery because we learned how to become blacksmiths. People, it should also be known that Ron DeSantis and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley have repeatedly defended the Confederacy during the Civil War as recently as the January 11th, 2024 presidential Republican debate. So once again, everybody, Black people, while you were running around talking about the Shannon Sharpe and Katt Williams interview, literally they are doing and passing laws that make it an entire political agenda that makes it harder for you to vote. And they're trying to teach your kids in school that slavery was somehow good for our ancestors and for us. Once again, those who don't know their past are literally damned to repeat it. And just like the Roman government entertained their citizens while they took away their rights, I see the exact same thing happening today, especially to minorities. Black people, wake up, seriously. In closing, everyone, I'm gonna say this, okay? I said the Shannon Sharpe interview exposes a lot of the issues that kind of go on in our society today in regards to us being mass consumers, not investing, and things like that. And to me, it also exposes an extremely ugly microcosm among my people. People, you will literally never see the Jewish comedian community and Jewish comedians like Jerry Seinfeld or Adam Sandler publicly beefing on YouTube like Katt Williams. I have never heard Asian comedians like Aquavasia or Ali Wong or Kim Jong-un publicly beefing on YouTube like Katt Williams. I have never heard Tim McGraw or Garth Brooks beefing online like 50 Cent beefs with pretty much everyone from Ja Rule to Jay-Z to Diddy. I will never understand, everybody, why guys like Cat Williams or 50 have to constantly tear down the Tyler Perrys of the world, the Ludacrises of the world, the Ice Cubes of the world, or the Steve Harveys in order to stay relevant. And no other community, everybody, once again, moves like this, where they essentially tear each other down to get ahead. And I'm going to say it like this: a house that's divided against itself shall not stand. So while I'm happy that Shannon Sharpe and Cat Williams secured the bag, because they most certainly have secured the bag and they secure their family's generational wealth, most of my people who look like me and most Americans in general have not. So people, as I said repeatedly, instead of spending 3 hours watching podcasts that entertain you and that don't teach you anything about how to become financially literate, it's a much better investment if you spend 3 hours watching podcasts on index funds, on ETFs, on HSAs, on 401ks, on Roth IRA conversions, or how to build generational wealth for yourselves and for your families. Everyone, these are my thoughts on the highly entertaining podcast that Shannon Sharpe hosted with Cat Williams. And I honestly hope that we as a group of people wake up, because while we are being entertained, other people are learning. While we are being entertained, our rights are being taken. And while we are being entertained, other people are figuring out how to build generational wealth. With that, everybody, this channel, Financipation, is all about making money. It's all about saving money. It's all about building generational wealth, and it's all about financially emancipating yourself from generational poverty. You can book a one-on-one session with me at any point. I'm not giving you financial advice in this channel. You must make your own responsible decisions based off the choices that work for you and for your family. And please follow me, everybody, on my website at www.therealfinancipation.com. You can check me out on Spotify, just like I spelled on my hoodie, just like I spelled back there. Financipation, TikTok Financipation. My Facebook page is Financipation, and check out my financial blog as well, okay? Also, everybody, check out some of my digital e-products, okay? Because if you're serious about building generational wealth and you want more than just entertainment, I'm literally walking you through how to do it. I have an MBA, and I can teach you pretty much how to do that, okay? That, everybody, once again, it's your boy Chris. I'm out. Peace.